Section 7.4b is about determining the best method. We've learned 5 methods to solve systems of equations, and sometimes one method is better than another. And so in this section we're going to look at why one method might be better. The first method that we learned was graphing. Graphing is not really a good method to use. It does not give you an exact answer. It's best if you want to estimate the number of solutions. That's when you would use graphing, just for estimating reasons. The second method for solving a system was substitution. You want to use that method if one of the variables has a coefficient of 1 or -1. If you have a letter like an x or a y or a z that has no other coefficient, then substitution is the best. You isolate that unknown and then you substitute it in for the other one. So look for coefficients that are 1 or -1 if you're going to use substitution. Elimination with addition is best if the coefficients are opposites. 6 and -6, 9 and -9, 2 and -2. If you see that, you want to add the two equations together and use elimination with addition. Likewise, subtraction works the best when it has the same coefficients. If you have 6 and 6 or 5 and 5 or 9 and 9, then you want to use elimination with subtraction. And then multiplication, the most recent one that we learned, is that none of the coefficients match. Then you want to use multiplication to get them to match up, either be the same or opposite, and then use adding or subtracting. So these are the 5 methods. Typically these 4, substitution and the 3 eliminations, are the ones that we'll use in algebra. And you want to know when they're the best to use and then how to apply them. Here we have 4 examples. We want to figure out what the best method of solving them is, and then also provide a reason why. I'm not going to ask you to solve them, but you should know how. Feel free to pause the video and then try to fill in this table and then come back for the answers. Looking at the first one, the best method obviously isn't going to be substitution because none of my coefficients are 1 or -1. And if I add, I'll get a 7 and a -1, so that won't work. Subtraction won't work. So it seems like the best method here is elimination with multiplication. And the reason is none of the coefficients are the same or opposite. And that's the reason we would use elimination with multiplication. The next one, I noticed that these coefficients are opposite each other. Well, if I subtracted them, I would get -14, so that wouldn't work. So in this case, the elimination with addition, because you add two numbers that are opposite, you get a 0. And the reason is the coefficient of the y, those coefficients are opposite each other. Next one, I noticed the y is isolated. In that case, substitution is going to be the best. And the reason the y is isolated, it also has a coefficient of 1, which is important. Last one, I noticed the -2 and the -2 have the same sign. And if they have the same sign, elimination with subtraction is the way to go. And the reason is the coefficients of the y's are the same. So that's just an overview of looking at 2 equations or a system and being able to tell what the best method is, and then you could always go ahead and use that method to solve it.